24 februarie va însemna de aici încolo o dată cu semnificație tristă. Este ziua în care, în 2022, Rusia a atacat Ucraina, declanșând un război pe care Europa și lumea întreagă nu și l-ar fi putut imagina posibil în secolul 21. O ediție specială a emisiunii Europa 360, inițiată de TVR Timișoara și finanțată de Comitetul European al Regiunilor. Un război la granițele Uniunii Europene, care a șocat, dar a unit mai mult ca oricând și care a scos la iveală resurse inepuizabile de solidaritate din partea țărilor europene. Găzduirea valurilor de refugiați, ajutoare umanitare, planuri pentru reconstrucție.
It's quite unusual to talk about reconstructions already with all the bombings falling upon the whole Ukraine. But still, as the moderator said before, you had some plans in the drawers at COR, and I'd like you to develop this idea about reconstruction in Ukraine.
Well, so the idea is that the Committee of Region is, that's his main goal, is working on the future. And it's working on how to make connection between local government and the people, from which we are very close, and the higher level of the European Union, the Commission and the Parliament. And of course we have to deal with immediate problems, and the immediate problem is to host refugees coming from Ukraine, is to help Ukraine in its fight, help the people there. But also we have to think further. Nobody knows if the war will end tomorrow morning, that would be great, or in 3 months, or in 6 months, but it will end at some point. And we believe strongly that it will end in favor of Ukraine, and then we will have to help Ukraine to rebuild itself, to help all those refugees who want to go back. I don't know any of those refugees who left Ukraine thinking we're going for good. 99% of them say we go, but we will go back to our country after. So we have to think how we can help them to rebuild their country afterwards. And there are two main goals in the reconstruction. Rebuild, of course, the buildings, the schools, the hospitals, the roads, the bridges, everything that has been destroyed, the housing, of course. But there is also the idea of doing it in a decentralized way. That's what we believe at the Committee of Region, of course, because we represent cities and regions. And we believe cities and regions are very well positioned to help to the reconstruction and to make the people understand what are the issues. So that's what we're doing. This afternoon we will be adopting a position presented by Nardella, the mayor of Florence, and in which we tell what are our guidelines. We want to promote partnership or twinnings between cities and regions. We want the European Union to have a special amount of money dedicated to the reconstruction. We want a status for the refugees to be made a little longer than what it is now, because we don't exactly know when things will end. That's what we're doing.
And you also created at the level of COR that alliance of mayors, right?
Yeah,
which is also dedicated
yes,
to
on the 13th of June we created this alliance of cities and regions for the reconstruction. Again, the idea is to make us talk together about what we can do, how we can help. For example, but in all countries we are not organized exactly the same way. But for example, in France, the regions are in charge of economic development. So we are in contact with small and medium-sized companies, and so there will be need for companies to go and help for the reconstruction, for example. So this alliance is a way to get together and to tell the mayors and the president of the region, let's go together and let's help this reconstruction. As I said, right after the war, the French region in a few weeks voted more than €3 million help for Ukraine. It went directly, sometimes it went through the Red Cross or through other organizations, through a national fund, through different ways. In Burgundy, we help a national fund. We help to rebuild orphanage through our twin region in Poland, who had herself a partnership with an oblast in Ukraine. I went to Romania twice. I went to first time with the French cities right after the war, and then I went with the Corps to the border with Ukraine at the invitation of the small cities of Romania. So we try to understand the problems and see how we can solve them. And this alliance helps that. And we try to get together to make the good message go to the Parliament, to the Commission, and to all the other institutions which are dedicated. The good thing is that actually everybody looks in the same direction, which is great. European Union probably has won many, many years through this crisis in terms of external policy cohesion. We don't have a defense policy really yet, but at least for this situation, we show great solidarity, and this has to keep going.
From the very first moments of the war, the COR was very much involved in helping, and you helped on two directions. First, welcoming the refugees and taking care of them here, giving shelter and so on. On the other hand, giving direct help, yeah, exactly to the cities of Ukraine. Did these requests change during these last months? Do you deal with new situations nowadays?
Of course, things change a little. I think the needs in Ukraine don't change so much. What probably has most changed is the welcome of refugees, because there were many at first and much less now. So everybody has learned how to deal with them. When I was in Bucharest, I went to the main station to see how the train were coming from Ukraine and how people were hosted for one night or two, those who wanted to stay in Romania, those who wanted to go to Hungary, to Poland or somewhere else. I saw the same system in Prague. Well, after 6 months, things have been organized. We're not under the same pressure. The new pressure is the long-term management of having those refugees.
Łódź este numele unuia dintre orașele despre care mii de ucraineni își vor aminti mereu. Aflat în inima Poloniei, localitatea asta cu o inimă enormă s-a implicat total în tot ceea ce a însemnat ajutor pentru Ucraina.
Something very nice back there at the conference, that maybe Łódź is not the biggest and the richest city in Europe and in Poland, but it definitely has a big heart. And I would like you to develop this statement.
You know, we are the city which was established like a multicultural city for the people which have a dream and find the right ground to develop his dreams in this area. So we are very, how to say, we are very open for the people which coming to us from another part of the world, and we can help them, even if we have a little. We give them this which we have, because it's coming from our heart, because each of us is the same situation, maybe 100 years, maybe 200 years ago, his family, it is the same moment. They must be an immigrant in this place and must to develop his future by own hands. So I think that it's coming from this, that it is in our blood, and we feeling that we must to help, because in the past somebody helped us.
From the moment the war began back in February, and by now you faced a lot of different situations. How did you manage to cope with the things that happened during these past months?
You know, in the first, it is very dangerous for all of us, because we don't know what's happened, what will be the next step. 2 days ago I say you, oh, we are on the good direction and we hope that everything's finished in the soon future. Now we don't know what's happened. After 2 days we still in a new situation, because Russia once again aggressed the Ukraine. And we don't know, maybe we have new numbers of the refugees which decided to come to us because of the situation. They bombed his houses once again. So I don't know what will happen tomorrow. It is difficult to say.
Do you have?
I say in this moment it is 120,000 refugees. It is more than 50% of the population of our city. It's not easy, but we can.
You said that you are prepared for everything.
Yes, we are prepared for everything because we have a lot of Ukrainian people which live in our city before. So they are directly know the city, they know the situation, they have his own job, his own flat, or they rent a flat. So even to help them, even if they want to help his families, his friends, they bring these families and his friends to his houses. So it is much easier for them and also for me, because I not have a special big area when we put many persons on the one hall when I living on the north. In our city never exists something, even at the beginning of the war. So we are really, I think, good prepared for this.
Which was the biggest challenge for you as a municipality to deal with this situation?
You know that Łódź, it is a big city in this heart of the Poland, but the city with the problems, because we are old city. So for me, it is our adventure to find the new citizens. Maybe a lot of these people we decided to leave his country about the war, and these refugees decided to stay in the city. I see this because young generation is, how to say, when I have a student, I see that I have the friends from Poland, from which citizens, and I hope that in soon future maybe they marry and find this family here in my city. So for me it's also something like possibility for the future to find the new citizens which stay with us, and our population start to be younger when in this moment. It is the problem for whole Europe, of course, that we are not very young population in Europe. But Ukrainian people have a lot of child. When I look on the families which coming, it is minimum 2 or 3 child. In Polish, it is only 1 child, even less when you look of the whole population. So I think it is also a future for us.
Actually, you had a lot of stories about young children coming by themselves, and you said some terrible story back there. I'd like you to say it again about the 2 children that came
yes,
by. Yes,
one day, I think it is 3 or 4 or 5 days after the beginning, after the war, the 2 boys, 7 and 10 years, coming himself to our point when we put the refugees. When we ask about family, they say that they come from the border alone. Because his mother, after we knows that his mother, during the when they take the child and go to the border, he was ill in this moment and he stay in the hospital. And the child go on the border himself alone, and on the border, somebody say that they go to the Łódź, and it is very good city and many refugees in this area. So they go themselves from the border to the city. It is 400 kilometers. Fortunately, the mother is not ill more. When they go from the hospital in, I think it was in Lviv, they start to looking for his child, and they find each other. So it is, the history is very happy. And
one more question and we'll finish. I know that the help that you have is not only dedicated to the refugees that you have in your city, but is also directed to the cities back in Ukraine, and I like it.
Yes, we still to support. It is not finished. It is very good information. It is not only on the beginning, but it still happened. We have a lot of firm and people which wants to support Ukraine, so they bring out a lot of goods, food, medicaments, everything which you need to live. And they bring that, so we send to our partner city more than 100 trucks, and we still do it. 1, 2 a week, and we send this humanitarian support to the Ukrainian people. I know that it is maybe something unusual when you look, but when we discuss with our friends in Ukrainian city, because we have a good relation with these people, they ask us, please, for example, send us, I don't know how in English, bandages. And when we ask how many packets, 30 kilometers. It is, and they never account this because every day they have about 100 people from the war. They need to protect this one, so they need for them this something very simple. What is it? Bandage. It's nothing, but they need something like this. So we try to support and send as much as possible this what they need in this moment. These things what they need in this moment.
Comitetul European al Regiunilor, prin membrii săi, a fost aproape de ucraineni, nu numai prin sprijinirea zonelor afectate de război, ori prin găzduirea refugiaților în diverse zone ale Europei, ci și prin lansarea, în octombrie 2022, la Bruxelles, a unui plan îndrăzneț de implicare directă în reconstruirea Ucrainei, odată ce războiul se va sfârși.
The bombs are still falling upon Kyiv and the other cities of Ukraine, unfortunately, and maybe some people would say it's not the time for reconstruction, but I'm sure that you had strong arguments in sustaining your opinion today.
Absolutely. I'm very proud for this vote from all the Assembly of the Committee of Regions about the plan of reconstruction of Ukraine, which is also a hope message that we want to launch to Ukrainian people. And also, if the war is continuing more and more, this is the good moment to start to project the reconstruction of many cities bombed by Russian forces in Ukraine. For example, schools and hospitals and libraries and many public buildings that we can help to reconstruct with some expertise, with projecting collaboration, creating sister cities for reconstructions. This is the philosophy of our initiative, which want also to support the acceleration of integration of Ukraine in the European Union. We know that Ukraine is a candidate to enter in Europe, but in our document we also consider the possibility to exploit some new tools from European Union to help with in an economic way the Ukrainian nation. We are discussing, for example, about the possibility to adopt a Ukrainian bond or a Ukrainian recovery plan, something similar to what we already used in Europe against the COVID-19 emergency and other financial aspects and challenges. So we are very strongly committed to act this plan and to share with European institutions our initiatives. And the unanimity is an important political aspect about this vote.
Why do you think that this peer-to-peer help would be more necessary than the national-to-national help? It would work better, but you'll tell me why.
For my experience as a mayor of Florence and president of Eurocities, I have to say that the peer-to-peer collaboration at local level is a concrete way, a speed way, a fast way to realize the projects. We need both national and international collaboration and local collaboration. And the crucial point is to have coordination of all different initiatives coming from local governments and local authorities to have a clear vision and clear strategy with the priorities shared with Ukrainian local institutions. That's why we consider this initiative from Committee of Regions very important and useful.
You yourself have been working very closely to your twin city, which is Kyiv, and I know that you have been knowing Kyiv and the mayor for a long time. You've been to Kyiv recently. Yeah. Tell us more about this visit and the message that you actually transmitted there.
I have been in Kyiv in August 19th to sign an agreement between Eurocities, the largest European cities network, and the National Ukrainian Association of Mayors, in presence of President Zelensky. I led a delegation with other 7 mayors from Oslo, from Riga, Athens, and Tirana, Marseille, Lione, and Helsinki. And we had a one-hour-long conversation with President Zelensky about how peer-to-peer collaboration could support the reconstruction of Ukraine. And President Zelensky told us how much is important to continue to discuss about Ukraine, to tell the Ukrainian crisis, to tell this war, to keep up the attention from all public opinions in Europe and in the world. And secondly, President Zelensky told us how important it is to start with reconstruction also if the war is continuing. This is another important aspect. So my association, Eurocities, is very strongly committed, and in my association we have important mayors coming from Romania, like Mayor of Cluj, Emil Boc, which is one of the most important leaders of Romanian local authorities. I had a conversation, a phone conversation 2 days ago with Mayor of Kyiv, Vitaly Klitschko. Immediately after that, he sent me the videos about the attack of center of the Ukrainian capital. In these attacks, Russian bombs shot down on a park where usually family and children stay, and this is terrible. This acceleration conflict is unacceptable, and we Europeans must do everything to stop this war. And we have to collaborate with the United States and China and other governments to convince Russian government to stop this war, to retire until the start of conflict in February 23rd.